Hey guys, it's Steven. Got a BYTES chart update for you here. We left off about a week ago, last Monday, and since then we've had a move lower in the overall Ethereum markets. You can see that we moved down and tested some key supports here at 909. We'll come back and talk about this later, but then we are getting close to about where we started the previous week here, and that is reflected in the BYTES token here. So using the pivot chart, you can see that we did find some support on the first support here at $1.58. And overall, pretty nice support there. And we did have pretty good move, about a 50% move from the low all the way up to $2. So some volume and some trading opportunities there. Moving into this week, taking the highs, the lows, and the close, I was able to create this week's pivot chart here. And you can see that we have a central pivot at $1.75 approximately. And I do expect to stay around this pivot point for the week unless we get some macro news for the overall markets or some news for BYTES. But overall, this should act as a magnet where we move above and below possibly. So we'll check for that. And if we do have a move down, we could possibly move all the way down to $1.35, and this is actually a long-term goal for mine that I really want to accumulate as much as I can at this particular valuation. Looking at the overall market cap for BYTES, that would put us at approximately $800,000 market cap for the entire BYTES token supply. So that is where I would like to purchase because if the market cap does get to 800,000, that gives us about a 20% upside to get 25% upside to get back to $1 million. So to me, that seems like a pretty good opportunity and an easy trade to do that. So moving on to the BYTES to Ethereum chart. So I did want to go over, really just solidify the strategy that I've used. That's really put me in a good situation as far as, probably one of the better performing liquidity pools that you could have in all of Ethereum actually is this BYTES liquidity pool that I have here. And how is this possible? I only invested $1,000, but it's actually been the best performing liquidity pool on Ethereum, and I'm going to go over exactly why that is, and how you could possibly take advantage of this going forward. So quickly just to check up on the charts here. The price of BYTES has performed slightly better than Ethereum over this past week here. You did see the spike before we moved about 30% on the ETH chart. That's what we have here. We went from the central pivot to the resistance one, and then there was probably a resistance two here that I didn't chart, but it basically hit it there. And so let's just get right into how I strategize this here. So this has been open for 48 days now, and a lot of things have happened since then. Over the past 48 days, we went from, I believe it was a price of $2,800 May 3rd here. Yeah, $2,800 Ethereum all the way down to now we're at 1,100, so approximately 60% drop since I created this liquidity pool here. And that's definitely something you have to think about as a liquidity provider, because if the token that you are providing liquidity for, really what you need to think of is the base token. So whether it's Ethereum or US dollars. Obviously, if you're providing liquidity with US dollar token on the other side, you don't have to worry about this. But just strategy, what I've been able to do is I have been able to protect myself. I do hedge my portfolio. Shorting Ethereum is how you would do that. So you use leverage, within reason, from 3 to 5, and if you're careful enough, you can do 10. And that really protects protects me from that downside volatility, and that way I can just focus on compounding my tokens that I'm earning through the liquidity pool. So as I mentioned before, this has been one of the best performing liquidity pools on Ethereum, and what this does here, Revert Finance actually shows you all the top positions that have been open. And as you can see, this is actually my liquidity pool at the top here. Other than this one that was just created, very short period of time ago, what this position above mine basically is somebody created a liquidity pool at the price. Once the price of Ethereum moves outside of this range, the APR will go back down, and it won't be that high, right? So this is just kind of a short-term trade here that somebody's making. But what really allowed me to get into this top position, I think, is there's a few things that are coming into play here, and really one of them is the fact that BYTES is such a high, I would call it a very high emissions token, where over 7,500 tokens are being distributed a day to the community. It could even be almost 8,000. So that's a pretty significant amount of tokens that are being brought onto the market. And even if only 10 to 15% of those tokens are being sold, looking at the liquidity pool, there's not that much support in the liquidity pool to soak that up. So for me, just being there to be the liquidity provider, it's obviously been a very beneficial thing. So I've been pretty lucky with this one. So I've created different liquidity positions that I've opened and closed, but because this liquidity pool has been basically right in the center of whether it's support or it's been resistance, it's been able to get a significant amount of the volume. So just kind of in the sweet zones there. So definitely some luck to that, but it's something that anybody can do, and I'll definitely run through how I did this, and how you could do that if you so choose. So moving on, where am I going to go from here? I'm just going to let this play out. So a few things that I've did this week. I moved some money around, and I wanted to really try to keep the price in my liquidity ranges here. So I have this one liquidity range here as support, and I have the second one that we're in right now. So something that I did was I created this very large, essentially a buy order. And I did that using an app called Chromatica Finance. And what this does is it creates a liquidity pool. Wait, what's going on here? I guess my order was just filled. Sorry to do this to you guys, but yeah, I guess I'll just leave this in here, but let's refresh this here. I guess somebody must have sold into my liquidity pool where it must have removed that liquidity then. Let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah, well, I guess you guys got to see that firsthand here. So cool. So now that I was able to just show you here, we just had a sell pressure into my liquidity pool. As I was saying, we're having so many tokens being emitted through through the NFTs that it doesn't take much to move the price. There's just not that much support. So me coming in here, instead of coming in and market buying tokens, so I just bought 2 ETH worth of tokens by providing liquidity. So if I wanted to come in and purchase 2 ETH worth of tokens, I would probably move the price from where we are now all the way. probably about a 30% move, just because there's let's see, 0.5, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so um, let me just pull up this chromatical order here so we can kind of uh, see see exactly what happened here. Which one was it? There it is. Okay, so I placed this order. It's been about 2 days now, and I put the order in for 2 ETH, and for that 2 ETH, I was trying to get 1,200 bytes. Now, because it was sitting there for 2 days, collecting a significant amount of fees, I was able to collect 1,320 bytes instead. So if I were to divide that there, so a 10% discount essentially. Um, and also I got a little bit of ETH, and I only paid $4 in fees to execute this. So super capital efficient. I mean, there's really no reason not to use this type of there's no reason not to accumulate tokens this way unless you're just kind of impatient. But I mean, that to me, I'm still in shock that that just happened, but we must have just got a significant amount of selling on the liquidity pool here. So let me just refresh this here. Yeah, I guess you can see in here, look at all these sells we're seeing coming in here, 250, 250, 250, 250. So that's where the 1,200 came in. And, over the past couple days, we've just had a significant amount of volume, and that was happening within my range here. So um, this is just kind of proving my point here that, providing liquidity is a very, it's a good opportunity to earn fees. And, as this happens, this is only going to, because this order was within my liquidity pool, I was still getting a piece of that as well. And that will continue to happen where my liquidity pool will be within this range here. And yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I'm just trying to get as much of the fees as I can. So it's a bit of a competition. And I know that there's going to be more liquidity coming soon from different projects actually I've been talking to that want to take advantage of this. And they want to use bytes to kind of fund their projects, and they want to use bytes in a good way, but they don't want to have to sell the bytes on the liquidity because there's not really enough. So what they're going to be doing is coming in here and providing liquidity. So what they'll be able to do is, come in here and fill these gaps where they can just provide bytes for people to come in and buy if needed. So definitely we'll see how all this plays out. So I do have some more support here. So I'm just gonna keep watching here and try to keep the price within my ranges here. And yeah, so I think I covered everything here. Sorry if I'm rambling on a bit, but I just wanted to point out that um, I've been pretty lucky here, and there is an opportunity to not necessarily get 763, but I think even with 1/3 of this, anybody should be happy with that, as long as you're controlling the downside with hedges. So even in the past week, this went from 75 to 100. So I'm just going to continue to let these play out for now, and I'll keep you guys updated on what we do here. And if you haven't seen any of my other videos, it's pretty simple to create a position. Um, I'll just go ahead and pop it out now. So as we looked at the chart here, we can see where the liquidity is. So if you are, maybe looking to provide support or whatever it may be, if you have bytes in ETH, you can come in here and provide those tokens. And as the price moves within the your liquidity range, you'll just earn fees. So it's really that simple. So let's just get right to the end here, and don't want to ramble on too much here. So just to finish on the macro markets, I'm really liking this 909 support that we found here. So we seem to be finding another kind of pivot point here. I think this might be the top of the range. Um, like maybe this 1120 might be a top here. What you can do is just use this as a bull bear line. So if it's below, you can be bearish. If it's above, you can be bullish. I'm thinking that what we need here is we're going to have a gap up in the stock market because the stock market was closed today. For the S&P 500, I'm using this 369 as the lower range that needs to be held here. So what I would like to see tomorrow is some red, and then maybe have a chance to buy this dip at about 369 is what I'm looking for value. And then on the charts here, what that's telling me is that there's a very good chance that we're going to be coming back and we're going to be testing this $19,800 very a lot. And if we are going to form a base, this is going to take a while, and we're going to have to see a lot of volume within this 19.8 range, and we want to see this $18,000 hold. So this was very key that we held this line here. But going forward, I need to see some volume on that chart, and it's going to be kind of similar to what we had here, where we did have an opportunity to base here, but the timing of everything just didn't play out. And then obviously some things with Celsius, and obviously we're a bit under attack here, but I think we could see something similar form here where you could possibly even just trade above and below here. Personally, I am taking some shorts because I'm pretty confident we're going to be coming back down here, and with Umami Finance, we were hedged very well and were able to take profits very well as going down here. So just wanted to point that out, and we're going to be watching the bond market. I mentioned last week the pivot that I was looking at, support pivot, was at 1930, and that held very well. So that's a pretty good sign for stocks that we did hold this 1930 pivot. So we'll see if we'll come back down and maybe test some support there. But again, just rambling on. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will catch you next time.